Coors Field in Denver, Colorado, FSN Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball today. It's the finale of this three-game series, and the deciding game as the Astros take on the Colorado Rockies. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy draft day. Bill Brown and Jim DeShays. So while those young men are being drafted today, the Astros go out to win a game in a city where they were swept in all three games last season. They have a chance to win a series here this year, JD.
Well, it's been a very entertaining series so far. The Astros with a decided advantage in the pitching matchup this afternoon as Roy Oswalt takes the mound for the Houston Astros. 5-1 lifetime against the Colorado Rockies. 2-0 in this ballpark. For the season, Roy 6-4 has been kind of treading water here lately, looking for a win. 3.20 ERA, among the league leaders in many categories. Josh Fogg comes off the disabled list, so you don't know how many innings he's going to be able to provide for Clint Hurdle today. He's 1-5 with a 4.53 earned run average.
Rockies won last night 8-7 to square this series after the Astros took the opener 4-1. Coming up, we'll see if the hitters rule today for a day game at Coors Field. Matt Holliday is now leading the National League in batting average and in hits. Lance Berkman is heating it up for the Astros. That's the matchup coming your way next. And game 3 of this series begins with the sun out. We have partially cloudy skies and Mark Loretta leading it off. Taking ball 1 from Josh Fogg. Loretta beginning the day at .317 has 1 homer, 14 runs batted in. And as you can see, the wind is whipping around as Josh Fogg returns from the disabled list to take this start. And he hits the corner for a 1-1 count on Loretta. Loretta batting leadoff for the second time this season for the Astros with very good numbers. 1 for 7 in this series with an RBI. Fogg joined the Rockies last year, but the Astros did not face him last season. He goes to 1-2 in the count. He's been out with a groin injury and had a rehab start on Saturday at Oklahoma. Things going well, and he's activated for this game with Ramon Ramirez sent down, option to AAA to create room for Fogg on this club. It's tapped foul by Loretta. Scouting report is brought to you by Rico.
Yeah, he's a cut above. He likes to throw a lot of cut fastballs. Doesn't throw many straight fastballs. He has a good changeup. Don't sit on that heater. So it's a little cutter, a little change, good breaking ball. Not a real hard thrower. A notch below average in terms of his velocity. He likes to participate in Civil War reenactments in the offseason.
He opens the game with a strikeout. Starting lineup for the Astros is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It's Loretta at second base, Hunter Pence in center field, Lance Berkman at first base, Carlos Lee in left field, Luke Scott in right field, Morgan Ensberg at third base, Adam Everett at shortstop batting seventh, followed by Brad Ausmus the catcher and Roy Oswalt the Houston pitcher. The Astros have dropped 13 of 16. They're 10 games below 500. Hunter Pence takes, and it's up for ball 1. 368 for Hunter, 5 homers, 24 runs batted in, and 2 for 8 in this series with an RBI. Fogg is upstairs with that one, and it's 2 balls, no strikes. Fogg has lost 5 in a row to the Astros. His career mark 3-6 with a 6.09 ERA against Houston. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Has not been good against the Astros in his career. Not particularly good here at Coors Field. The last 3 times the Astros have faced him, they've scored 8, 8, and 7 earned runs against him.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
But they have not faced him since July of 2005. There's those last 3 starts. 4 innings, 8 earnings, 7, and then 8 again.
Fly ball headed for right center. Willie Taveras on the run. That ball is bouncing and going over the wall for a double for Hunter Pence. That's his 13th 2-base hit.
Ball had a slicing action on it, a little bit of an inside-out swing from Hunter. Plus the wind looks like it's going to push it to right field, so that ball just continuing to drift away from Willie Taveras. He just muscled that out of here. If it doesn't bounce out, he's probably got 3 bases.
Yep. Pence is in scoring position, and Lance Berkman steps up with a runner at second and 1 out. 244 for Lance, 7 homers, 34 driven in. And he's had a good series. 3 for 8, including a homer and 4 runs batted in, and a double for Lance.
10 out of 25 in his career against Josh Fogg. That's a .400 batting average. 4 of those 10 hits, home runs.
Taveras plays him to left center. Pitch is up, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Fogg with 1 win and 5 losses. Began the season as the number 5 starter. That 1 win came April 25th at New York. He gave up 3 runs in 7 innings, beating the Mets 11-5. He has not won since then until his last start at Arizona. Roll to first base. And taking it to first is Helton. Pence to third, 2 down now. So a 4-game losing streak overall for Fogg since that lone win on the 25th of April. And you see the last 3 outings. He has been putting up some good starts, but things have not been working out to get him into the win column.
Yeah, 7 innings, 1 run against the D-backs. And that was here in this ballpark, and then in Arizona, 6 innings, 1 run.
Carlos Lee hitless in this series, 0 for his last 10. 306, 11 homers, and a league high 52 runs batted in. It's 2-0 with Luke Scott on deck. Lee 0 for 5 in his career against Josh Fogg, who was drafted by the White Sox in the 3rd round at 98. Josh is now 30 years old. Traded to the Pirates in the Kip Wells deal. And then he signed as a free agent with the Rockies prior to last season. Last year he went 11-9 for Colorado with a 5.49 ERA. And then he had right elbow surgery after the season for bone chips.
He's got a real good idea of how to pitch. Again, his stuff won't blow you away, but he's a smart pitcher. Typically has pretty good fastball command. 51 and 56 in his career. 4 times he's had double-digit winning seasons. So a solid major league pitcher.
He's fallen behind 3-1. Fogg went 5 innings on Saturday, as we mentioned in that rehab start. Gave up 6 hits and 2 earned runs. He gets a strike and creates a full count for Carlos Lee, who looks back at the home plate umpire Rob Drake after that call.
It's a cut fastball. Carlos thought it was off the plate.
Chris Iannetta is the starting catcher for the first time in this series. Yorvit Torrealba started the first 2 games. The injury for Fogg was a strained left groin. And he comes back a strikeout lead, and it's no runs, a hit, and a runner stranded at third for the Astros. Roy Oswalt heads for the mound in a moment. It's 0-0 as we head to the bottom of the first inning and check the starting lineup for Clint Hurdle's Colorado Rockies, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Willie Taveras leads it off in center field. He's on an 11-game hitting streak right now. Kaz Matsui's at second base, batting second, with Matt Holliday leading the league in batting average, and left field batting third. Todd Helton's the cleanup man and first baseman. It's Garrett Atkins at third base, Brad Hoff in right field, Troy Tulowitzki the shortstop, Chris Iannetta the catcher, Josh Fogg on the mound. And Roy Oswalt with the third baseman Morgan Ensberg on the grass, and the first baseman Lance Berkman at the edge of the grass faces Willie Taveras. There's strike 1 to Willie T on an 11-game hitting streak, 385 during that streak, 321 for the season for Willie, the 7th best batting average in the league. Roy moves him away from the plate, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Roy has had terrific success against this Colorado club. In fact, his lowest career ERA against any club. Fly ball left field deep. A leadoff homer for Willie Taveras. Number 1 of the year for Taveras after Kaz Matsui hit his first of the year last night in the 7th inning.
It's about the 5th first home run the Astros have allowed in the last week. Taveras taking evasive action around Matsui there. We're going to high-five him. There must be something superstitious going on. Took down a low fastball and got it airborne.
Willie hit 1 home run all of last year.
Well, Phil Garner was talking about the trade that sent Taveras over here the other day in his office, and he said, look, Willie Taveras, in his opinion, will be a guy that ultimately will hit 15 home runs in a season.
Matsui is tossed out. It was 348 at-bats between home runs for Willie Taveras. Last night, Matsui hit one for the first time in 59 at-bats going back to last year. So the Rockies, who have been out-homered 53-38, strike first. Here's our Rico scouting report.
Yeah, he's always in the attack mode and really presses his advantage. Even 0-2, he continues to attack hitters, almost never wastes a pitch. And one thing we don't talk about Roy very often, he's very good at controlling the running game, too. That's especially important because you don't expect Taveras to hit the ball out of the ballpark. I'm more worried about the stolen base game with he and Matsui, but Roy's been very good at shutting down would-be base stealers. As a matter of fact, this year, no one has even tried.
Matt Holliday took ball one up and in. Fly ball near the right field line, headed back to the corner. Luke Scott, the ball slicing and going foul. 1-1 on Holliday, who has tied his career high with the 14-game hitting streak in effect right now. And he did that earlier this year. He's hit 386 during his hitting streak to climb to the top of the National League batting race. He has 84 hits already. Holliday rips a line drive toward the left field corner. Carlos Lee over to get in front of it, and he'll make a throw into second. Holliday's coming. A throw to Loretta, the diving tag, not in time. A double for Holliday and a 15-game hitting streak, a new career high. That's his 21st double.
Because you have to play so deep here, singles turn into doubles in a hurry. Outfielders really have to be aggressive, and Lee made a nice play here. The throw just off the line a little bit. And Holliday pulling that one arm back. See, he pulled the right arm back to get the left hand to the inside corner of the bag. Very nice move.
He's in scoring position for Todd Helton. Helton looks at ball one. Helton has the third best batting average in the National League, 330, and he's 5 for 17 in his career against Roy, including a long ball.
Teams rarely take infield practice anymore. It used to be the norm after BP. Both teams would take BP, then both teams would take infield shortly before the game. And the one thing that's lost in that is outfielders throwing to the bases. They don't get as much practice throwing to the bases as they used to. Where's that?
Apparently outside, 3-0. Todd Helton has hit only 172 on this Rockies homestand. Right where Ausmus set up. Helton was the only Rocky starter last night without a hit. Now he draws a walk. And it's Atkins batting with 2 on and 1 out. Drake in the mask today. Ed Rapuano's the crew chief at first base. Ed Hickox at second. C.B. Buckner at third. Garrett Atkins is coming out of a slump to start the season. He's put together a 7-game hitting streak, hitting 379 for the last 7. And he's had a very good series with 4 hits. Strike to a 242 hitter with 4 homers, 23 runs batted in. Atkins had 2 hits and scored 2 runs last night after a pair of doubles and an RBI Tuesday night. Oswalt moves him back, and it's 1-1 for the Wizard.
Good looking lineup the Rockies have. Power from both sides of the plate, speed at the top. Especially if they get this guy going, then they'll have good balance left and right.
Hurdles Club 12th in the league in runs scored. It's a 2-1 count.
A little out of sorts there after that leadoff home run by Taveras, and he has struggled somewhat on the road this year. He's got an ERA up over 5 away from Minute Maid Park.
Atkins, a 5th-round draft choice in 2000 from UCLA, takes that one, and it's 3-1 to him. Atkins' delayed steal of second last night sparked a 3-run rally in the fourth. That came with 2 outs in the inning.
Not throwing his hands up as if to say, "Oh, what do you want to throw here? I think I know your game."
It's a walk to load the bases now for Brad Hopp. 1 out, and Hopp, the right fielder, moves into the plate.
Fastball clocked at just 89 miles an hour, and it's typical of a lot of starting pitchers to not hit their stride for a couple of innings, but that's usually not the case with Roy in terms of his velocity. He usually comes to the mound in the first inning, pumping it up there pretty good at 93, 94.
Hopp's 1 for 8 in this series, but that hit drove in 2 runs last night. 298, 8 homers, 37 runs batted in. That was a 2-run triple in the 7th inning. Strike 1 to Hopp. Very good player, strong arm. And he is counted upon to drive in runs for this Rockies club. He delivered 84 runs batted in last year. He was the player of the week last week in the National League. Late on that one, and it's 0-2 to Brad Hopp.
Had the big hit in the ball game last night, 2-run triple off of Trevor Miller to make it 7-5 Rockies. Bases loaded, he's been pretty darn good.
That was his first triple of the season last night, breaking the 5-5 tie. Hopp's driven in 10 runs on this homestand. Mark Loretta underneath, infield fly called, 2 outs. So Roy got in front of him and then got in on him for the pop to get him to a bases loaded 2-out situation facing Troy Tulowitzki.
That big 0-2 pitch here. Hopp covering the outside corner with 2 strikes, and Roy beats him with an inside fastball. Talked about Roy pressing his advantage. He doesn't really waste pitches, tries to get hitters out on 0-2.
Bases loaded for Tulowitzki. There's strike 1 to him. 267 for Troy, 2 homers, 23 runs batted in. He was 0 for 12 until he got a pair of hits last night. Drove in a run in that game last night. 22 years old. Fouls it back, and it's 0-2 to the first-round pick of the Rockies in 2005. He was the 7th player drafted that year. Got in 96 major league at-bats last season, and this year he has been amazing at shortstop. He made 3 good plays in the 9th inning last night. It's 1-2. Tulowitzki is first in runs scored among National League rookies. Also leading in hits, walks, tied for second in runs batted in. Chris Ionetta's on deck. Fouls it back to stay in at 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rockies are ending a long homestand. They are 5-4 on this homestand. They have Holiday at third, Helton at second, Atkins at first. They're 2 games under 500 at home this year, 15-17 their home record. Astros and Rockies have had very much a home and home series over the years. It's 2-2. Both have decided home field advantages over the other team. Rockies are 30-19 here at Coors Field against the Astros. The Astros are 17-4 at Minute Maid Park against the Rocks. Grounded third base, and Morgan Ensberg will get the force for out number 3. 1 run, 2 hits, 3 men left. The Willie Taveras leadoff homer gives the Rockies a 1-0 lead. Colorado leads Houston 1-0 after one. Coming up later on the Dodge Texas Truck Stop, we'll hear about Mark Loretta's most memorable ball game. Stay tuned for that. Josh Fogg spotted with a 1-0 lead. Faces Luke Scott leading off the second inning. And it's inside to Scott, ball one. Luke at 240 has 6 homers. He's driven in 29 runs. 3 hits, including a home run in this series. All 3 of those hits came Tuesday night with the 2-run homer in the 9th. It's 2-0 for Fogg. Run support is something he has not had in abundance this year. He's had 1 game with more than 3 runs of support. There's a shot into right field, and the Astros get their second hit. Good swing of the bat by Luke with that low line drive.
Good at bat. Lay off a couple of borderline pitches, get the count in your favor, and take a good whack at one you like. Maybe that explains the facial hair for Fogg. Maybe it's a lack of run support. Maybe he just keeps trying different looks to find a little good karma.
Could be. Morgan Ensberg hit his 5th career pinch homer in last night's game. He gets a start today with 6 homers, 16 runs batted in, a .239 average. And he takes ball one. That home run came last night of the 9th inning with 1 out off the closer Brian Fuentes.
Good numbers against Fogg for Morgan. If you were listening to the pregame show, you heard Neil Holfeld make a case for Morgan Ensberg getting more playing time. I kind of buy into that theory too. Maybe it's time to give him another look here over an extended period, see how he does. Good swing of the bat here. He got extension on a low fastball and just drove it out there into the rock pile. Probably hit a deer hiding behind that tree.
Well, that moved him into second place on the Astros all-time home run list for third baseman. 104 career homers. He's hit .375 in June. Playing sparingly. And the count runs to 3-0 on Morgan Ensberg. Josh Fogg has walked 22 this year in 54 2/3 innings. And it's ball 4. Runners at first and second, nobody out for Adam Everett now.
All right, we got a little something going here.
Everett at .219 with 2 homers, 13 runs batted in, is 2 for 8 with an RBI in this series. He's studying signs from Doug Mansolino.
Got his day game contacts going with the red ones in there.
Yeah, he did have that different look about him today on the bench. As he was sitting with Manso. Fouls it away, strike 1. He just looks a little different with those contacts in.
Of course, not as sunny as it was earlier in the day. We have plenty of cloud cover now.
His eyes didn't look red though, JD.
No,
they look brown.
Maybe he took them off.
Maybe that was it. No balls, 2 strikes for Adam Everett. Hope you got a chance to join us. There you see.
Look away, look away.
Yeah. We were talking about Tulowitzki, the Rockies shortstop, on the bench as he sat there with Manso today. Astros pretty impressed by that young shortstop defensively and what he's done this year. This one gets away from Iannetta, and the runners move up without a throw. That's a big play for the Astros to get runners at second and third with nobody out, and the count goes to 1-2.
Good play, good aggressive base running there. We talk about it a lot. Anticipate the ball in the dirt, be ready to react. Good secondary lead. You see Luke at the bottom of your screen shuffling off the base. He sees it in the dirt and takes advantage. Good base running.
That was.
You'll never want to be caught flat-footed out there taking your lead.
Ball didn't get that far away from Iannetta either. Of course, the fact that he was on the move gave Ensberg his cue to go to second. Now it's 1-2. Foul back. And both runners have to be in that same mode, ready to move up on any pitch in the dirt. Sometimes base runners kind of fall into a little lull, but those guys were ready to sprint.
Comes under the category of playing the whole game, taking advantage of every situation, especially when you're in a little bit of a funk. You really have to take care of all the minor details. Now ground ball to the middle of the diamond, gets you one in and one more over if it's to the right side.
Foul back. Still 1-2. Josh Fogg, of course, has faced the Astros many times going back to his days as a Pirate. This is his 14th career start against Houston. And in the first year he faced the Astros, 2002, he faced Roy Oswalt in his first 3 starts. He won 2 of those 3. Then he beat Tim Redding in 2003. He was 3-1 at that point against Houston, but has not beaten the Astros since July of 2003, losing 5 straight decisions. Ground ball with the runner coming home. Atkins throws to first, barely in time. He juggled the ball and almost took too much time. RBI number 14 for Everett. Scott scoring, and Ensberg takes third, which is important.
Yeah, especially on a ground ball to the left side, you don't think you're going to be able to take advantage of it. But Atkins having to drift to his left allows Ensberg to get into third base. And did they get him?
Maybe.
Wow. Bang, bang. Could have gone either way.
Sure could have. Nice job by Everett, behind in the count 1-2, making some contact, picking up the RBI to tie the game 1-1. Now the infielders come in with Brad Ausmus the batter, runner at third and 1 out. 228 for Brad, no homers and 6 runs batted in, and there's all kinds of room between the infielders and outfielders in this ballpark when the infield comes in. So much so that a hitter can be thinking double if he gets a little pop fly over the infield. It's ball 1 to Brad with Roy Oswalt on deck. Brad catching all 3 games of this series. Strike.
Well, I had a little sink on it. Most of the fastballs that Fogg has thrown have been cutters. A little bit of a sinker. He's trying to keep the ball on the ground. Brad looking for something he can elevate.
Eric Munson had caught the 2 previous games before this series. Roll to second. Matsui with a runner holding. Tosses to first. And the infielders coming in. That really paid off for Clint Hurdle. On this high grass, that ball barely made it out to Matsui. 2 outs. And it's Oswalt with a chance to drive in a run to give himself the lead. Roy has 3 hits and 26 at bats, a 115 average, and he is looking for his first RBI. That's ball 1 to him. Rockies have scored 9 runs in the first 2 games of this series. One ball and 1 strike. And usually it's a situation of thinking about 7, 8 runs to win a game in this ballpark. It was 8-7 last night, but it was 4-1 the first night. 1-2 the count. And for a starting pitcher, it's about staying in the game regardless of what the numbers are. And the pitching line. Oswalt taps it foul. Still 1-2 for Roy. Mark Loretta's on deck. It's a good protect mode as Roy reached out, just tapped it foul to stay in there at 1 ball, 2 strikes, and hopes for a mistake from Fogg. Fogg has a 51-56 career record with a 4.87 ERA. Taylor Buchholz has now gone to the bullpen, and he got the win last night with 1 perfect inning. So Fogg can rejoin the rotation. Todd Helton and Brad Hopp angling over for this foul pop, and it's caught by a fan. Roy putting up a battle here with a 1-2 count.
I have nothing else making Fogg throw some pitches here. Continues to throw that little slider cutter out away from him. Probably beat him with an inside fastball, but with a runner in scoring position, in this instance 90 feet away. Sometimes you tend to lean on your favorite pitch, and for him it's that cutter.
Fogg is a native of Lynn, Massachusetts, who went to the University of Florida. 2-2.
He didn't become a full-time pitcher until his junior year at Florida. He was a reliever at Florida. In high school, he was a second baseman.
Fields the position well. Quick feet. He has good range off the mound on little taps. Roy coughing as he calls time with a 2-2 count. Fogg was a 12-game winner his first year with the Pirates, 2002. Fly ball. Matsui looks to the right fielder Hop. And in the second inning, the Astros tie it with a run on one hit. They strand a runner at third base. It's 1-1. It's Houston 1, Colorado 1 in the middle of the second inning. Now it's time to recognize Chevy's most dependable fan. It's Missy Bosch from Houston. For your chance to win 2008 season tickets, visit www.dependablefan.com and tell us why you deserve to be Chevy's most dependable fan. These fans out on a partly cloudy day for a day game in downtown Denver. It's a 1-1 affair right now. Roy Oswalt facing Chris Iannetta. Iannetta 0 for his last 10. Takes ball 1. 184, 1 homer, 10 runs batted in. He's 24 years old. That one bounces to him, and it's 2-0 to Iannetta, who was born in Providence, Rhode Island, and went to the University of North Carolina, where he was a mathematics major. Last year he had 77 at-bats with the Rockies.
It's got to be killing him to be looking at that 184 batting average then as a math major. He's kind of thinking, well, to hit 300, I've got to go 12 for 14. I got to get it going on here.
You don't want to do that math. It's 3-1 to Iannetta, a fourth-round pick in 04.
Yeah, good minor league numbers. Hit 351 at Colorado Spring last year after being called up from AA Tulsa, where he was a 320 hitter. Well, pretty good line of catchers coming out of North Carolina. B.J. Surhoff, Matt Marullo, Scott Bradley, all going on to the big leagues.
Iannetta strikes out after jumping in front in the count. 3-0. Oswalt getting strikeout number 1 of the day.
Fastball had good sink.
Roy has not won since May 12th when he beat Arizona. Josh Fogg takes strike 1. He's 3 for 18 for a 167 average. Roy certainly pitched well his last time out against Wainwright and the Cardinals, giving up 1 run in 7 innings. Got a no decision in that one, which turned out to be an 8-1 Astros loss. 1 ball, 1 strike to Fogg. Rockies have drafted Casey Weathers in the first round. They had the 8th pick. It's a pitcher from Vanderbilt. Popped up. Lance Berkman over for out number 2.
So what's the deal? Vanderbilt turns out a first-round pitcher every year, don't they?
Seems, yeah. Our Coors Light Cold Blast comes your way now, and it's Willie Taveras with the home run in the first inning. A leadoff homer.
They tend to be very aggressive against a guy like Taveras because he's primarily a singles hitter, so the last thing you want to do is walk him, but jumped on that one.
Now the Astros have Ensberg on the grass at third again. Curveball good for strike 1 to Willie T. Casey Weathers, the 8th overall pick, 21 years old. That's foul. 0-2. He's been a reliever for Vanderbilt. He was 12-2 with a 2.37 ERA and had 7 saves. Vanderbilt ranked number 1 much of the year, so he will be a target now as the Rockies try to sign him.
Is he related to Stormy Weathers?
I don't know about that. Little chop goes back to the mound. And that's a 1-2-3 second, keeping the game tied 1-1. It's Houston 1, Colorado 1. Coming up later on the Toyota Truck Game Break, find out the latest news about your Houston Astros. It's in the middle of the 7th here on FSN Houston. We move to the 3rd inning, and Mark Loretta's the batter. He struck out leading off the game. On a hanger, he hits it foul, and it's strike 1 from Josh Fogg. Astros move on to play the White Sox for 3 and the Cubs for 1. Sally Gunter tells us that research information indicates they'll be the first team to do that. Go to Chicago and play both those teams in back-to-back series. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's 2-1. Chris Sampson is up tomorrow night at 7:11 game time from U.S. Cellular Field against John Danks. I think 7-Eleven is their sponsor this year. Ionetta back, and it's fouled about 5 rows deep. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Oh, so 7-Eleven's a sponsor, so they play all their games at 7-Eleven.
Yeah. And we'll have that game for you at probably about 6:30 on FSN Houston for the pregame show. Chris Sampson and John Danks. Saturday, it's Jason Jennings and John Garland. Tulowitzki. 1 out. Saturday's game will be on channel 26 in Houston on Big Fox as we move aside for that crew. And Sunday we're carrying the matchup of Wandy Rodriguez and Mark Burley, a matchup of lefties. 12:30 for that pregame show, and then Monday night the Astros are at Wrigley to play the Cubs. Woody Williams against to be announced.
He's good.
He is really. We see him a lot, don't we?
Yeah.
Tubby. Hunter Pence double to right center off Josh Fogg, and he takes ball 1 here.
He's a lot better than others. Others shows up on the stat sheet. It's generally guys that have been sent out. These don't have very good numbers.
Yeah. Foul back, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, that series with the Cubs, of course, of interest to a lot of folks, and especially these players on both teams as they try to gain ground on Milwaukee, which the Cubs just did. And the Astros will be playing Milwaukee in another couple of weeks, JD.
Didn't Zambrano pitch for the Cubs yesterday?
Yes.
So it seems like Monday would be his day.
Yes, you're right. But it's down as TBA, so maybe we'll get the word that it is Zambrano, who dialed up a very good game yesterday. That's chopped to third, but foul. The Cubs are in Atlanta, where tonight they begin a 4-game series. And there you have it, as they'll return after that 4-game set to take on the Astros next Monday in that makeup game from an earlier rainout. And then the Astros go home and play Oakland and Seattle. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Hunter Pence. Joe Garner likes him in the 2 spot because of his speed. In the hole, Tulowitzki throws on the run, but does not get him. Despite his best effort, he does have a strong arm to make that kind of a throw from the hole.
Well, he gets probably any other runner on the Astros.
Yep.
I mean, and that's a heck of a play. This Pence with too much speed, but we've seen this now 2 or 3 times from Tulowitzki. And not just the strong arm when he's able to load up and plant that back foot, but throwing off balance, airborne, getting a lot on the throw.
Pence is 2 for 2 in this game. He's aboard for Lance Berkman.
Imagine that, 2 hits for Hunter Pence.
That happens quite often. Berkman with a high drive right field. That's a 2-run homer, a no-doubter into the second deck for Lance Berkman, who's starting to sizzle. Home run number 8 of the season, and the Astros lead 3-1.
Happy days are here again, maybe, for Lance Berkman.
That's 2 homers and 3 at-bats.
And 2 legit homers, too. You know, we talk about it so often. Once a hitter starts to drive the ball the other way, stay through the ball, and start to hit the ball hard the other way, then the power starts to come. Opposite field home run last night. Now he gets the head out on one and just jerks it into the second deck. And unlike that one he hit at Minute Maid where he felt like he didn't put a very good swing on it, this one he really got.
Oh, he did. He crushed it. Carlos Lee with ball 1. Berkman now has 36 runs batted in. Doesn't it just figure, knowing that a suspension is around the corner?
Yeah.
And he knows one is coming. But a player hates to sit out when he's hot.
I can always appeal.
Ripped to left field. It's hooking, but Carlos Lee has. Thought he had it. It's foul. Looked like it would stay fair, and the ball does not usually hook as much or slice as much here in the Mile High City, but that one did hook. Foul.
C.B. Buckner, the third base umpire, took a good long look at it. Not an easy call for a third base umpire because sometimes it can be hard to track that ball. You're facing the plate and then it's hit over your head. You have to turn and pick it up and track it. It's a tough sky too to track a ball against.
Buckner with a foul call. Now it's 2-2 to Carlos Lee.
A great story by Ron Luciano. He was up at third base and the ball was hit like that. He had no idea. So he emphatically called it a home run, and the other dugout just emptied, screaming at him. He said, "Uh-oh, I blew that one." I don't know what, he didn't know. I just guessed, but I'm going to sell it. I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it emphatically.
Make it look good. The Astros have not gone back-to-back this season. Their opponents have done it to them 4 times. So maybe the worm is about to turn. And Lee looking for his first hit in this series. A .259 career hitter against the Rockies. He's a fine hitter. Those are pretty low numbers for Carlos against this club. Fouls that one to keep the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Fogg starting to work inside a little bit more now. Second time around the order. Featured a lot of cutters away to Lee in his last at bat.
That's ripped to center field. Willie Taveras on the run. Extra bases for El Caballo. The one hops the wall, and he's in with a double. That's his 18th 2-base hit and the first hit of the series to snap an 0 for 11 for him.
Another solid at bat for Lee. Fogg makes a mistake with the cut fastball this time, leaves it up and not off the plate enough, and Lee hammers it to center field. Didn't get our back-to-back home runs we were cheering for, but very good swing of the bat.
Back-to-back extra base hits. 3 hits in a row for the Astros. And it's Luke Scott trying to make it 4 straight. He singled to lead off the second inning and came around to score on the ground out by Adam Everett as the Astros played some small ball in that inning. It's ball 1 in tight. Pittsburgh beat Washington today 3-2 with a run in the 9th inning. Matt Capps the winner. He beat Chad Cordero, and Jason Bay hit his 11th homer. Freddie Sanchez number 1. A shot into right center field for Luke Scott. Will score El Caballo. It rolls all the way to the wall. Scott will head for third base without any resistance from Doug Mansolino, and no throw. Stand-up triple for Luke Scott. His 2nd triple of the year, and the Astros get their 3rd run of the inning home to lead it 4-1.
The last 4 hitters have hit for the cycle. Single Pence, home run Berkman, double Lee, triple Luke Scott, shooting the gap. After that solid line drive single last time up. Able to get this one between the outfielders all the way to the wall. This ballpark yields a bunch of triples. I think I can.
That's his first series ever here. Last 4 hitters, single, homer, double, triple. Now we'll see what Morgan Ensberg can add. With the infielders in and 1 out, a runner at 3rd. A shot on the ground, backhanded to Tulowitzki. 2 down.
That ball hit hard too.
Yes. Scott still huffing and puffing. Yeah, recovering from a sprint like that at altitude obviously takes longer. Now it's Adam Everett with the infielders backing up with 2 down. He hit the grounder that got Scott home in the 2nd inning. Strike to Adam.
The pitchers do a lot of running in season, for the endurance But position players, you know, they work hard in the offseason, get in shape throughout spring training. But once the season starts, they don't do a lot of conditioning work. They play every day. You got to save the body some. They'll do a lot of weight work. I see many position players out running miles.
No, that's a rarity. 2 balls, 1 strike.
I don't know any player, any position players that ever did a lot of running in season.
Can't think of any. Willie T freezes for a beat in center, now moves back a few steps for the 3rd out. And the Astros put together a 3-run third with 4 consecutive hits, 2 of them scoring on a Berkman home run for a 4-1 lead. It's a 1-0 count for Roy Oswalt, and Matsui swings and fouls it back. 1 ball, 1 strike to Kazuo Matsui, who grounded back to Roy in the 1st inning. The Astros lead it 4-1. Matsui flips a fly ball to left. Carlos Lee handles out number 1.
Astros close out a 3-game set with the A's. It's a business fan special. 1 week from today at 105, first 5,000 fans will receive a Chester Charge retro t-shirt courtesy of Bastion Technologies. It's Flag Day that day. In honor of the Army birthday and Flag Day, please wear red, white, and blue, and the red, white, and blue prize packs will be given to 50 random fans. At Astros.com, you can pick up your tickets.
Matt Holliday looks at it. It's ball 1. He doubled to left in the 1st inning. Holliday had an outstanding year last year, and he's certainly following that up with another fine one so far. Line shot right center field. Hunter Pence digging over to try to hold him to a single. Holliday's headed for second. And the throw not in time. He got it there on the fly, but Holliday has his 2nd double, and that's his 22nd of the year.
Now 1 to left, 1 to right center. Aggressive base running. Bad decision not to slide there. He's lucky he didn't overrun the base. A good swing on a low fastball. Stuck his nose in there and just drove it.
That's 4 doubles and a triple for him in this 3-game series. And he almost went past the bag.
Yeah, you got to slide there.
Todd Helton with a check swing foul is behind in the count. 0-1. He walked in the 1st inning. Helton was a Rockies 1st-round pick back at 95. They have really trended toward drafting pitchers, though. Takes the slow curve, and it's 0-2 this year, the 6th time in the 16 drafts in the history of the Rockies that they selected 8th or lower. And this is the 2nd consecutive year the Rockies took a pitcher with their 1st pick.
Really good pitch.
Helton caught looking. Boy, it doesn't happen very often with him. 3 pitches, caught looking. See you later. Strikeout number 2.
We talked about Roy's aggressive nature, and you can understand why Helton laid out that pitch. I mean, obviously a pitcher's pitch, not much you're going to do with it anyway.
That's Garrett Atkins. He walked in the 1st.
But it makes sense that the Rockies would draft pitchers because it's tough to sign them here. You know, some have tried. You know, Mike Hampton, DK, a number of guys signed and came up here, but didn't really work out. Free agent guys that got big bucks to come here. So there'll probably be fewer and fewer veteran pitchers with good resumes willing to do that. So if you can develop your pitchers from within, and there'll be a ton of willing position players to come here to the light air.
Well, they took John Burke with their 1st-round pick in '92. Jeff Francis in '02. And Greg Reynolds last year. Reynolds is a Double-A, coming along well for them. So 11 times in 16 drafts the Rockies have taken a pitcher as their 1st pick. And that's their philosophy. Homegrown pitchers. Ensberg throws out Atkins. It's no runs, a hit, and a runner stranded. After 3, the Astros lead 4-1. It's 4-1. The Astros lead the Rockies here. Beautiful ballpark. Coors Field in downtown Denver. Josh Fogg just off the disabled list. Gave up a run in the second, then 3 in the Astros' third inning. Now it's Brad Ausmus to lead it off in the fourth. Astros have collected 6 hits off Fogg, 4 in a row in that third inning. He delivers strike 1 to Ausmus, who rolled out to second earlier. Roy Oswald's due to bat second, then Mark Loretta. Line shot into center field, and Ausmus greets Fogg with another good swing. The Astros hitters putting things together pretty much throughout the lineup today.
Well, Fogg leaving the ball up quite a bit, really not fooling anybody. Last inning +1. This ball up to Ausmus's liking, and he just squares it up. Solid line drive single. Oswalt will be asked to push him along here with a sacrifice.
Roy was a 23rd round pick of the Astros in '96. Puts the bunt down, and it rolls to the first sacker. Todd Helton will tag him out. Ausmus to second, the 8th sacrifice for Oswalt. 1 down.
Roy should have dropped into the moonwalk there instead of the back pedal. Just go straight moonwalk on him.
Phil Garner hoping the Astros can build even more of a cushion for his talented starting pitcher. Roy had a 2.98 ERA to lead the league last year. He came into this game 3.20. Mark Loretta with a strikeout, a ground out to shortstop, now has a man in scoring position. And he's hit very well with men in scoring position. Fouling it, strike 1. The Astros do not have a pick today until the 112th pick of the draft in the 3rd round. They signed 2 type A free agents, Carlos Lee and Woody Williams, so they lost picks for signing both of those 2 players.
Yeah, there's a formula where free agents are classified based on their performance over the past couple of seasons, I believe it is. And Carlos and Woody, because they've been performing well, were both classified as type A free agents, and that determines the compensation that you give up for signing those guys.
And their former clubs get those first-round picks that the Astros lost. 2 balls, a strike, and there also are a lot of compensation picks going to teams after the first round this year. Something like 33 of those, so this draft is going to take a while, 2 days, of course. But now teams only have until August 15th to sign these players who were drafted this week. So they can't do the draft and follow thing the Astros did with Roy Oswalt and several other players.
Yeah, they lose the rights. Puts a little more pressure on the clubs and the agents to get deals done, and players have to make a little quicker decision. Those guys who still have college eligibility, or kids coming out of high school, whether to sign or just stay an amateur. Baseball draft really a crapshoot.
Boy, it is.
Way more so than the other professional sports.
Line shot to left field. Loretta with a single gets Ausmus to third base. Ausmus had to wait for that ball to clear the infield. And Loretta now 1 for 3, makes it first and third, 1 out for Hunter Pence.
It wasn't likely that Fogg was going to go deep in this game anyway, coming off the DL. So I suspect that Clint Hurdle will get some action up in that Rocky bullpen here in short order.
Aflac trivia time, and it's about the draft, we're told. 7 players drafted by the Astros in 2001 have appeared in the majors. Name them.
Chris Burke.
Yeah, he was the first-round pick in 2001. Boy, that's pretty good. 7 players from that one draft have been in the majors. Bob Apodaca, the pitching coach, meeting with Iannetta and Fogg. And there is bullpen action, as you suggested there might soon be. So they're buying a little time for the relief pitcher.
To give you some indication, in the draft we talk about being such a crapshoot, a fellow by the name of Randy Scarberry, on this date in 1973, became the first player selected twice in the first round of the regular phase of the draft. The Astros had picked him in 1970. The A's took him with the 23rd pick overall in 1973. So this is a guy obviously really well regarded, a high ceiling guy. who ended up pitching very, very briefly in the major leagues with the White Sox.
Hunter Pence with a towering pop. Todd Helton into foul territory. The wind is working it. 2 outs. Pence was 2 for 2. That's a big out for Fogg. Now it's Berkman. Other than Chris Burke, though, 6 more players we have to name from 2001. We don't have a shot at that, do we?
No, Lance had a shot at that cutter. Be interesting to see how Fogg goes after him in this at-bat. Lance with outstanding numbers against Josh Fogg coming into this ball game. That's his 5th career home run against Fogg.
That's a broken bat. Fly ball to Brad Hopp in right field. And Fogg is out of trouble here in the 4th inning with no runs, 2 hits, 2 men stranded. It's 4-1 Houston. Aflac trivia: 7 players drafted by the Astros in 01 have appeared in the majors. Name them. We could come up with only one.
Qualls, was he in 01?
I thought he was 2000. Let's see: Burks, Sarlos, Jimerson, Barzilla, Cormier, Albers, and Holton.
Albers was an 01 draft, huh?
Yeah, he was a draft and follow guy, I believe.
Well, if you got that question right, get a life.
Brad Hopp fouls it back, strike 1. He popped a second in the 1st inning. A key out for Roy Oswalt because Roy had given up a leadoff homer to Willie Taveras, and the bases were loaded with 1 out.
Unless your name, of course, is Tim Purpura.
Yeah.
It's understandable that you would know all those guys.
Paul Ricciarini.
Yeah.
He nails it. No balls and 2 strikes. So Roy, by keeping Hopp to that pop-up on the infield, prevented any further runs from scoring in the 1st inning. His velocity seemed to be a little down, and that's looking like a key out in this game so far.
Yeah, sure was. Dangerous hitter. Guy was the player of the week last week. He's going to go have a seat right now, as a matter of fact.
It's a brand new week, JD. Strikeout number 3.
Backdoor slider. Around the same one that he rung Todd Helton up on. Roy's able to hit that spot, and he continues to call it. It's going to be an awfully tough day for the Rocky hitters.
They've had mostly those tough days against him. Troy Tulowitzki, the batter. Strike 1. Roy has dominated this Rocky club with that 5-1 record, a 1.73 ERA. This one goes foul, and it's no balls, 2 strikes. Roy lost a tough 2-1 game at Houston to Aaron Cook last year. He has never given up more than 3 runs against Colorado. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Roy's first game here against Denny Nagel back in 2002. He won 8-4. A shot by a diving Ensberg, who stays down, and Carlos Lee slides to block it, but it's a double for Tulowitzki, his 10th. Sharply hit. Ensberg landed a little awkwardly. Thought maybe his shoulder had hurt him, but he seems to be okay.
I think once it got by him, he was just watching the play develop in the corner. Look out there and watch Carlos go after this ball. And usually in left field, once it's hit in the corner like that, you just automatically assume double so that you can play it off the wall and hold the guy to a double. But in this park, because it's so deep, that ball gets to the wall, it may be a triple.
Might be. It's 3 doubles today for the Rockies. Chris Iannetta struck out in the 2nd inning after being ahead in the count, 3-0. Fogg is on deck. That's strike 1. Home plate umpire Rob Drake called Iannetta for swinging the bat. He seemed to accept that rather philosophically. But the way things have gone with the umpires in this series, that's not a bad idea. Tom Martin no longer throwing in the bullpen. 0-2.
Roy back on track here, getting ahead of all the hitters. We swung more breaking balls. Slider. Right through there on 0-2. Roy yields a .245 batting average on no balls and 2 strikes, and that is really high. You look at most pitchers, you look at their count, you can actually look this stuff up count by count. I looked at Fogg, for example. On 0-2 counts, opposing hitters are hitting .086 against him. And most guys throw balls on 0-2. They try to waste a pitch, try to get you to chase a pitch. That's not Roy's MO. He stays aggressive throughout the count.
And the hitters know that, so they're prepared to go after it.
You know, sometimes it comes back to bite him, but it becomes a percentage play. You throw a lot of strikes, throw a lot of quality strikes. Usually works out in his favor.
Line shot into center, charged by Hunter Pence. And he fires toward the plate. And it's wide. Iannetta an RBI single, and it's 4-2 now as he drives in his 11th of the year, snapping an 0 for 11.
A little too aggressive there with that pitch. Fastball right there for Iannetta. Hunter drifting a little bit as he fielded that ball, not able to square up his shoulders, and that caused his throw homeward to drift.
Josh Fogg with Ensberg charging, takes it, and it's ball one. Fogg has 3 sacrifice bunts this year. Taveras on deck. Now Fogg wants to hear from Mike Gallego, the third base coach. In that Pittsburgh-Washington game, both starters pitched well. Matt Chico for the Nationals and Ian Snell for the Pirates caps the winner, and Cordero lost it on the 9th inning homer by Jason Bay, his 11th.
I think Josh went down there and said, hey, I've been on the DL for a while. What's the bunt sign again?
Yeah. Whoa, he wasn't bunting.
Maybe the question was, hey, do you mind if I pull the bat back and try to slap one through the hole if they're charging really aggressively? And I said, sure, feel free. If it's in your kitchen, go ahead and take a whack at it.
Whatever you want to do, big fella.
We already got one out already, so sacrifice gives us one chance to drive in the run.
It's 2 balls and 1 strike to Josh Fogg. Rockies go on an interleague road trip to Baltimore and Boston. The Astros take on the White Sox. White Sox are at home to the Yankees tonight. Runner going. It's dribbled out towards shortstop. Everett coming in. Throws him out. Iannetta makes it to second, and Fogg advances the runner on out number 2.
Break out your 70s attire for next Friday night's game against the Mariners at 7:05. There'll be a costume contest in Union Station at 6 o'clock. After the ball game, a groovy 70s Friday night fireworks presented by Marathon Oil Corporation, weather permitting. Tickets at Astros.com. I'm sure you'll hear some KC and the Sunshine Band that night.
You know it. Willie Taveras looks at the hook, and it's ball 1 to Willie T, who had a leadoff homer in the first. Rounded back to the pitcher in the second. Hunter Pence is in right center field. Tapped out to second. Loretta throws out the leadoff man, and it's 1 run, 2 hits, and a man left for the Rockies. Through 4, the Astros lead 4-2. It's Houston 4, Colorado 2 after 4. Time now to check our Texas 4 dealers, league leaders. And it's the National League RBI leaders with Carlos Lee. 4 better than Prince Fielder. Then it's J.J. Hardy and Chase Utley. Matt Holliday is 5th. And you can see why the Brewers are doing so well with Fielder and Hardy up there. Now Lee, the former Brewer, takes ball 1. He has a double in 2 trips in this game.
They called up that kid Ryan Braun. He's swinging the bat well for them too.
Yeah. Fly ball center field. Willie T coming in. That loops in front of him. And that's hit number 2 for Carlos Lee. Willie wasn't exactly busting it, but sometimes things can look a little bit different up here where we sit. He probably had conceded that was a single all along.
He froze initially. You see that a lot. You know, big swing from the slugger, hitting the ball towards the center fielder. It's a tough ball to get a read on, and once he realized he couldn't make the play, he laid back to take it on the convenient hop.
So Lee's 2 for 3. And Luke Scott has a single and an RBI triple. Good cut there. Strike one, foul. Now there's so much territory to cover here in this outfield. Outfielders naturally do not want to get burned deep. That means that some of those hits will dunk in front of them. Fogg moves it in, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
I dare say I may have managed to hit a double in this ballpark.
You know, it's just a shame you didn't get to hit here, because that would have been fun to see if you could have done that.
This would have turned me into an 092 hitter.
Scott with a fly ball to Taveras for the first out of the inning. And now it's Morgan Ensberg. Ensberg with a walk and a ground out.
Every time the Astros have scored 4 runs or more for Roy Oswalt this year, he's managed to win the ball game. So you're feeling pretty good about things, but a little different animal here at Coors Field. So you'd like to play add-on.
Strike one.
78-2 in his career with 4 runs of support or more. I wonder if Josh Fogg knows what he's up against.
He may not realize that. One ball, 1 strike. Doug Rader is the all-time leader among home runs by Astros third baseman, 128. Ensberg to right field toward the corner. It's slicing and foul.
What's Morgan up to? 102,
104.
104.
So he certainly has a shot at that mark. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fogg's allowed 9 hits so far. 4 in a row in the 3rd inning. And Ensberg whiffs for out number 2. 3rd strikeout for Fogg.
Hit the ball hard the other way, but foul on the previous pitch. And this time it looked like he was looking for something in because he pulled off that pitch. Maybe he got caught trying to guess along with Fogg.
Adam Everett 0 for 2 with an RBI today. Takes strike 1. Rockies starting pitchers have combined for just 15 wins this year. One ball, 1 strike. The nature of things with games going the way they have quite often at Coors Field makes it difficult for starting pitchers to stay in and get wins. 92 pitches for Fogg. They're going. And here's a throw on Carlos Lee once again. Has a stolen base. That's his 4th of the year. He just has a way of picking the times to steal.
Well, he's a big guy and he takes a very modest lead. And I think, clubs will go over the report and they'll probably say, hey, don't forget about Carlos Lee. Every now and then he'll steal a bag on you, but he's not the kind of guy that you're overly concerned about when you're out there on the hill and you start to focus on the hitter and he senses that you're not really paying attention and boom, off he goes.
He was 19 of 21 last year. Everett fouls it. That's a good time to go too, with 2 outs in the inning. Now a 2 ball, 2 strike count. And that's the pitching line for Josh Fogg. Starting pitchers for the Rockies have gone 6 innings in each of the first 2 games of this series. Jason Hirsch allowed 2 runs. Aaron Cook allowed 5. Good play by Iannetta on ball 3 in the dirt. It's a full count now.
Quick feed, huh, from the big man? Very quick.
Really had to get out there in a hurry. Torrealba caught the first couple games of this series. Iannetta getting the day game. Backhanded, but not picked up cleanly, and Everett will get a hit on this as Lee goes to third. Atkins moving behind the bag. Got his glove on it. It seemed to hit off the heel of his glove, and Everett gets an infield hit.
Adam really getting on top of this ball, really emphasizing the top hand. Got on top of the ball, hit it hard on the ground. Atkins, a very difficult chance.
That's hit number 10 for the Astros. Everybody but Ensberg and Oswalt. Now Osmus to left center, and that is driven by Willie Taveras. He picks it up on a hop as Lee scores. Here's Everett coming in. And the throw to the plate by Tulowitzki, not in time. A two-run double for Osmus. And the Astros stretch it out to a 6-2 lead. Well, he ripped that one for his second hit of the day. That's 10 doubles for Brad, 8 runs batted in now.
The first time up, Brad was hitting with a man on third and less than 2 outs, and he hit a ground ball to second. He was very frustrated after that at bat, but single last time, and a big swing of the bat here with 2 outs, and the pitcher on deck to drive into. Taveras shaded well over towards right field and shallow. Brad able to get that ball by him.
Osmus with a big day. 11 hits for the Astros, a 6-2 lead, and Oswalt is trying to chime in. Roy hit a fly ball to right, put down a sac bunt, taking strike 1. Now everybody but Ensberg and Oswalt have been in that hit column, with 2 for Pence, 2 for Lee, 2 for Scott, 2 for Osmus.
Well, if Roy is 78-2 lifetime with 4 runs of support, I wonder what he is with 6.
Fogg catches a corner, and it's 0-2. Earlier, Tom Martin, the lefty, was working in the Rockies bullpen. Now the Rockies have a right-hander out there. Fouled away, and it's 0-2. Manny Corpus, by the way, said in the paper today here in Denver that there was no bad blood between himself and Carlos Lee from the World Baseball Classic team, Panama. He said that pitch that was behind Lee just got away from him. He's the guy who's warming up. So this could get interesting. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, Roy with 6 runs of support or more is 49-1. Last year he lost to the Washington Nationals. The club 51-2 in those games. There's Corpus heating it up.
Oswalt caught looking, and the Astros come up with 2 runs on 3 hits and leave a man. It's 6-2 Houston.
Welcome back. Bottom of the 5th. Astros lead the Rockies 6-2. Astro fans join us for Astros Insider each week to find out what's going on with your favorite baseball team. This week you'll see how Hunter Pence measures up against other Astro rookie greats. Plus you'll see the personal side of getting demoted to the minor leagues. All of that and more on Astros Insider tomorrow at noon, only on FSN Houston. Hey, I wonder how the Lance Berkman show was today.
I haven't heard any feedback on that yet. Hopefully we'll get a chance to watch that when we get back home. Kaz Matsui is 0 for 2 in this game. There's strike 1. Correction on the pitcher who was warming up. It was not Manny Corpus. It was Jorge Julio, number 50 instead of number 60. I didn't see that number properly. 1 ball and 1 strike as Matsui tries to get on for Holiday and Helton to follow. And the slow curve takes it to 2-1, but Julio is no longer warming up. The Astros lost their first 6 road series here in Colorado, going back to Mile High Stadium. Season series before they won in '99. And in 2003, they were 2-1 here. Fly ball right field. Luke Scott over. Still going to the corner. 1 down. They were 2-1 for 3 straight years here in 03, 04, 05 before being swept in a 3-game series here last year. Trying to make up for lost ground, but still with that record of 19-30 at Coors Field, it goes against the grain for them to win a series here. Pretty good feather in their cap if they can do it. Matt Holliday with 2 doubles today is going to try to prevent that from happening. That's ball 1 to Holliday.
It's weird how that works out. The teams just have problems in certain ballparks because over the years, most of those years, the Astros have been pretty good. The Rockies haven't been very good at all.
That's true. And we make so much out of these first rounders in the draft, and yet you look at where various players were drafted, like Holliday, 7th round pick in '98. And he's turned out to be an all-star.
A lot of guys come from deep in the draft. There's a lot of #1 draft picks that never make it. Oh man, you take a lot off that curve.
And Holliday was trying to stay back, but he popped to Berkman.
Well, it's time to break out something new after a couple of doubles. Royce, I'm gonna flip up an old, what they used to call a slow ball back in the old days. Look at that. That's a hitch and gun. That's the kind of swing you take at a slow pitch softball pitch.
Todd Helton up the middle. Spin move by Adam Everett, and a very good play gets Helton for a 1-2-3 fifth. The Astros lead at 6-2.